Howdy. Hello, everybody. What's up? This is your boy Milk, and welcome to FNAF Fridays and FNAF 101 Part 2, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the second game. We're going to be exploring the lore of the second game, much like we did the first in my first episode of FNAF 101. Find that if you have not seen it already, you should watch that one first. As a reminder, please like and subscribe. It's a click to you, but a huge help to me. The second game begins much like the first with a Help Wanted ad. This ad's announced the grand reopening. Vintage Pizzeria given new life. Come be a part of the new face of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. What could go wrong? Also, just like the first game, we start each night with a phone call.
Hello and welcome to your new summer job at the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. I'm here to talk you through some of the things you can expect to see during your first week here and to help you get started down this new and exciting career path. Now, I want you to forget anything you may have heard about the old location, some people still have a somewhat negative impression of the company. That old restaurant was kind of left to rot for quite a while, but I want to reassure you, Fazbear Entertainment is committed to family fun and above all, safety. They've spent a small fortune on these new animatronics. Facial recognition, advanced mobility, they even let them walk around during the day. Isn't that neat? But most importantly, they're all tied into some kind of criminal database so they can detect a predator a mile away. Heck, we should be paying them to guard you. Now, that being said, no new system is without its kinks. You're only the second guard to work at that location. The first guy finished his week, but complained about conditions. We switched him over to the day shift. So, hey, look at you, right? Mainly he expressed concern that certain characters seem to move around at night and even attempted to get into his office. Now, from what we know, that should be impossible. That restaurant should be the safest place on Earth. So while our engineers don't really have an explanation for this, the working theory is that the robots were never given a proper night mode. So when it gets quiet, they think they're in the wrong room. So then they go try to find where the people are, and in this case, that's your office. So our temporary solution is this. There's a music box over by the prize counter, and it's rigged to be wound up remotely. So just every once in a while, switch over to the prize counter video feed and wind it up for a few seconds. It doesn't seem to affect all of the animatronics, but it does affect one of them. And as for the rest of them, we have an even easier solution. You see, there may be a minor glitch in the system, something about robots seeing you as an endoskeleton without its costume on and wanting to stuff you into a suit. So hey, we've given you an empty Freddy Fazbear head. Problem solved. You can put it on any time and leave it on for as long as you want. Eventually anything that wandered in will wander back out. Something else worth mentioning is kind of the quartz modern design of the building. You may have noticed there are no doors for you to close. But hey, you have lights, and even though your flashlight can run out of power, the building cannot. So don't worry about the place going dark. Well, I think that's it. You should be golden. Check the lights, put on the Freddy head if you need to. Keep the music box wound up. Piece of cake. Have a good night, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Now, a few things to mention about this phone call and the newspaper ad. One thing is they mentioned that this is a grand reopening and that the old restaurant has been shut down. Now, it is later established that this game takes place in 1987, and they are alluding to the old restaurant shutting down in 1985 after the missing children's incident. which is mentioned in newspaper clippings in the first game. He also says that the animatronics are allowed to move around during the day. This is a nod to the first game where he says the animatronics are only allowed to walk around at night. They used to be allowed to walk around during the day until the Bite of 87. And as I said, this game takes place in 87. In reference to the Bite of 87, nobody has truly figured out the exact details or even who did it. I personally believe it was Chica because, for one thing, Toy Chica is missing her beak in this game. In Ultimate Custom Nights, she says, "Where is my beak? Oh yeah, it's in your forehead." So I think there's other evidence around, but I think there's ample evidence, in my opinion, that it is Chica who did the Bite of 87. There are some other things, but lastly, I specifically want to point out, he mentions the other security guard went to days. I personally believe this becomes important later on, as I will point out. At the end of each night, you have a hallucination, or maybe it's not a hallucination, where you are inside one of the suits looking out. This begins at the end of night 2, and at this night you will see Bonnie and Chica, and you will hear children laughing. The next night, Bonnie and Chica will be looking at you. The night after that, Chica and Bonnie will be looking at you, but they will appear angrier than before, and Golden Freddy will be on the right. I can't read my own handwriting. Golden Freddy will be right in front of you, staring at you. And then on night 4, Golden Freddy's gone. Bonnie and Chica are still there, but the puppet is right in front of you, blocking your view. No matter where you look, the puppet will stay right in front of you. And then the game will crash, and it'll show "It's Me" on the screen. The next phone call you get, phone guy explains that the old animatronics are actually in a back room. They were going to try to repair them and retrofit them with the new parts, but they were really ugly and they smelled really bad. So they decided to go in a whole new direction and make the new kid-friendly toy animatronics. He says the older models should not be able to walk around, but if they do, you have the Freddy masks you can put on, Freddy head. So whatever. He says he loved the old animatronics, and he starts talking about Foxy. He explains that the Freddy head will not work on Foxy, but your flashlight will. He says the older animatronics, bright light would cause their systems to restart. He says don't forget about the music box, and that he's never liked the puppet thing because it thinks it can go anywhere it wants to. He also explains that the Freddy mask will not fool the puppet. Speaking of the puppet, there are several new animatronics introduced in this game. Let's introduce the cast of characters in the second game. This game introduces Balloon Boy, or BB. He will not jump scare you, but he will disable your flashlight, and he introduces some of my favorite sound bites from the game with his little hello and hi and that laugh wasn't very good, but I love BB sounds. There is also a pink-eyed version called JJ who will hide under your desk and peek out. Also will not kill you. There is the aka Charlie. And then we also have different versions of the band. We have the toy versions, which are new, the withered versions, which are different than the versions from the first game. I'll show each one and kind of talk about all of them. So this is Freddy from the first game. Of all of the animatronics, probably the most similar to its withered counterpart. I actually don't really see much difference. And then we have Toy Freddy. I'm going to point out that every version of Freddy has blue eyes. We then have Chica from the first game, who has pink eyes. We got withered Chica, who looks strikingly different than Chica from the first game. Much older, but still pink eyes. And then we got Toy Chica, who can often be found missing a beak, and for some reason has blue eyes. Why the change from pink to blue, I don't know. Maybe this is insinuating a different child possessing Chica. Maybe it's not Susie anymore in Toy Chica. Mr. Cupcake also has different color eyes. The original Bonnie from the first game also had pink eyes, which, like Chica, for some reason, the eye color changed. Now Bonnie has green eyes on the toy version. Finally, we have withered Bonnie, and yeesh, this guy has seen better days. He doesn't really have a face. Not too much to say about withered and classic FNAF 1 Foxy. Withered Foxy's a little pointier. Foxy consistently has gold eyes, including the new version, the toy version of Foxy, who is actually named Mangle. Apparently Mangle was taken apart and rebuilt by the children several times, and the techs just eventually gave up and let the kids put them together however they wanted. That is it for playable animatronics. There are also a few animatronics that can only be spotted on the camera. Golden Freddy makes his return in this game. You have Shadow Freddy, which many people believe, and, it definitely appears to be a dark version of Golden Freddy. Occasionally you can spot a exoskeleton on the cameras. And finally, you have Shadow Bonnie, whose official name is RWQFSFASXC. Yes, that's the official name. I don't know. I don't think anybody, as far as I know, has figured out if this is some kind of code or exactly what this means. I know it is tied in with the color purple for Purple Guy, but I don't know. I feel like there's got to be more to it than that. Night 3's phone call, he just explains that Foxy was always his favorite, and he explains about Mangle being a more kid-friendly Foxy that was put in Pirate Cove, and the toddlers kept taking him apart and putting him back together, and that's why Mangle looks the way he does. He says he wants to ease your mind about rumors that have been going around lately, and you know how these local stories are, and they seldom mean anything. He says, however, tragic has nothing to do with our establishment. It's just all the rumors and speculation, people trying to make a buck. He says the guard during the day hasn't reported anything unusual, and he's always on duty. I always took this to mean that something new is going on. Not the MCI. The MCI was a couple years ago. That stands for the Missing Children's Incident. I almost suspect that the day guard is maybe William, and something now is happening, and William's kind of covering it up, and I think further phone calls kind of help support this. But we'll move on. This game introduces the death minigames, also known as the Atari-style minigames. Later games also include minigames. It's generally believed there are 4 different minigames which occur at 4 different locations during 4 different time periods. I'm going to place them in what I believe to be the correct chronicle order. We have the Take the Cake to the Children minigame. I believe this is first because it's a small room. What looks to be a yellow-colored Freddy, and you go around and take cake to the children. I believe this shows William's first murder, which is Charlie, the child of the founder. You see a purple car arrive, and there's a child locked outside. That child is murdered. It's generally believed this is the first murder. Charlie, like I said, the child of the co-founder, and this is where the first murder occurs, and Charlie eventually becomes the puppet, which is established in later games. Oh, I should also mention this is the first game where we get a glimpse of Purple Guy, who sometimes shows up in the Atari minigames. Purple Guy is known to be the antagonist, the murderer, and eventually becomes known as William Afton. So it's hard not to make this confusing. So the first minigame takes place at Freddy's Family Diner, the original location owned by Henry and William. William kills Henry's kid. This is his first murder. This takes place in 1983. The next minigame is Give Gifts / Give Life. In this minigame, you play as Charlie, who now possesses the puppet. It is now 1985. This is during the events of the MCI, also known as the Missing Children's Incident. This is after William has killed 5 children. Charlie goes around giving gifts, which are masks. These masks are the masks for Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. And then another 5th child appears in the middle as Golden Freddy. And she is giving the MCI children lives, aka helping them possess the puppets. The animatronics. You have the minigame Foxy Go Go. This may be a separate incident, but I think this is actually also the MCI in 1985. Just a different time. This is before the children become the animatronics. So I probably should have put this before the last one, but I think it's the same 1985 MCI incident. Finally, there's the mini game Save Them. I believe this is now 1987. This is taking place in a larger pixelplex where you're basically you're an animatronic following the puppets around. There's text that says Save Them. Sometimes Purple Guy will show up with a security badge on, giving the implication that he is working as a security guard. I believe he is the day shift security guard that is sometimes referred to in the phone calls. I think later phone calls help confirm this. But I think he is now murdering children in the current location, or at least is up to no good. The animatronics are trying to stop him with the help of the puppet. However, when Purple Guy shows up, the minigame will end, and you'll hear text appears on the screen that says "You can't." It is also worth mentioning that during some of these minigames, there is an electronic voice that will spell out letters. This voice is identical to the voice in the end of the new movie that spells out "Come find me." During the 4th phone call, he explains to you that there is an investigation going on and they're going to have to close for a few days. He says Fazbear emphasizes that they have nothing to do with it and there's no wrongdoing. This just happens sometimes. He tells you not to make eye contact with the animatronics because someone has been messing with their facial recognition software. Someone on the day shift, perhaps. He says the characters have been acting very unusual, almost aggressive towards the staff. Now, this almost mirrors what we're seeing in the Save Them minigame with William Afton being a security guard and the animatronics trying to save the children. So I think there's a parallel there. When you reach night 5, he tells you things have escalated and that they are now on lockdown. No one is allowed in or out of the building, especially previous employees. So again, this might point to William having posed as an employee, and they suspect him. He also says, we might have to move you to the day shift because the day shift has now become available. So again, this is pointing to William maybe being the one on the day shift and he got caught or disappeared. He says they're trying to contact the original owner. He thinks it's a place called Fredbear's Family Diner. This is the first time we hear mention of that. Tells you to hang in there. It's just one more night. If you make it through night 5, you'll get your paycheck for Jeremy Fitzgerald is the name on the check, and it's dated 11/12/1987. The name Jeremy is important because it also shows up later in the series on a gravestone that you find, and is presumed to be the name of one of the missing children. Nobody's sure if it's just coincidence or if it's a hint or a false name. Now, at the beginning of night 6, he asks you, what the heck are you still doing there? The place is closed down. Someone used one of the suits. There was a spare suit in the back, a yellow one, a yellow rabbit suit. He said someone used it. He says at this point, just finish up your shift. It's safer not to try to leave in the middle of the night. He says there's one more event that's scheduled for tomorrow. It's a birthday party. You're going to be on the day shift. They want you to wear your uniform, stay close to the animatronics, and make sure they don't hurt anyone. He says for now, just make it through your shift. Eventually, the place will open again, and he'll probably be back on the night shift himself. You can then get another paycheck at the end of that night for overtime. The date is 11/13/1987. This is Friday the 13th. I mentioned in my last video how I think that's important. There is also an article saying Freddy Fazbear's is closed. It says after being only open a few short weeks, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is closing its doors. The new animatronics will be scrapped due to the possible malfunction. However, the original characters are being kept in hopes of possible reorganization of the company. It's a minor setback. We are confident that we will reopen someday with a much smaller budget. If you play an Ultimate Custom Night, you will get a pink slip under the name Fritz Smith. That is important because Fritz is also on one of the graves and presumed to be one of the names of the missing children. Also, the pink slip says you were fired for tampering with the animatronics and for odor. This is probably a reference to Purple Guy and a reference to the fact that you're playing custom nights, and in the game Ultimate Custom Nights, it's heavily implied that you are playing as William Afton. So maybe anytime you're playing a custom night, you are playing as William Afton. Anyway, that's about it, folks. Hope you enjoyed the video. If so, I will start working to hopefully next Friday release the summary of FNAF 3. And please, again, make sure you like and subscribe. It's a click for you, but a big deal for me. Really helps me be able to do this. I hope to one day be able to make some money doing this. Please help me. Help me. Okay, bye-bye.